Hey guys, and thanks for clicking on the video. I'm Zimic here with a little bit of something new. Haven't done this before. Going to be doing a step-by-step on how to play the center lane. I'm a center lane player for my team. Whenever I'm actually serious about like climbing ranks and things of that nature, that's the role I play with probably a duo or a trio. We don't actually have a team of 5 yet. But the center lane is probably obviously arguably the most important lane. That's the lane that gets the most experience points, and it's the lane that everybody expects you to carry on. If everybody just does their job in lane, that's fine, but it's up to the center lane a lot of times to actually carry the game. So I'm going to be given a step-by-step tutorial, like every single part of the game from pre-game to post-game or end-game, what a center lane player should be doing. And the first part of that is choosing the character that can go into the center lane. Now here have like a lot of Pokemon that really not the best center lane choices. I'm not saying you can't use them. Obviously, pretty much any Pokemon is usable in any part of the game for like standard play or like low ranks and things of that nature. Even in high ranking, it can be the case. But like for like consistent wins and things of that nature, where you're not trolling, you're not doing like niche picks. You're going to want to stick with these bottom Pokemon down here. An argument could be made for Venusaur and for Machamp that they could also go in lane, but really I think that they're just better in lane than center lane. So without further ado, we'll just like be going through these guys down here. And like the first one is Absol. Absol doesn't have an evolution, gets its moves pretty quickly, and even if it doesn't learn its moves, it can its secondary moves, it can still have a lot of ganking potential. So we're gonna put that in strong early. Ghastly or Gengar starts out as Ghastly, abysmally weak. You need all the farm in the jungle to evolve, and without that evolution you are useless, so you need to evolve ASAP with him. Now Scizor and Scyther are a little bit kind of convoluted here. Scizor is just so much better than Scyther at the moment, so until that changes we're just gonna pretty much pretend Scyther doesn't exist, and Scizor needs to evolve ASAP because you need that bullet punch. Without the bullet punch you are very mortal and very and can actually die on your ganks, and that is going to be the one thing you don't want to do, but we'll cover that in the next video. Scyther, he doesn't evolve, so like if you're going to be taking him in lane, he could probably be strong early, but you're just going to have to be very careful not to die. Aegislash, he does evolve, but he doesn't get a whole lot off of his evolution, and he's actually going to be pretty weak aside from one thing, a burst, but so we're going to put him the weak early and needs XP, and this one is pretty much for the Pokemon that are going to be useless late game if they're not properly fed. So Cinderace is going to go right there immediately as well. If you have an underleveled Cinderace, he's not going to do any damage, he's not going to be getting any kills, and he's just not going to be contributing to the team very much. Dodrio, he is going to be strong early, but he also needs to evolve because of his of the moves he gets on evolution. He's definitely going to need to evolve. I can't off the top of my head remember if he evolves at 4 or 5, but he definitely needs to evolve in order to be able to get those ganks off. Garchomp, no joke, no question about it. He's going to need all the EXP early. He's going to want to get as far ahead as possible and just really be able to take all the jungle, every single jungle rotation, get as many Swablues, Altarias, Bees, whatever it is, whatever map you're playing, all of that XP early. A fed Garchomp is a happy Garchomp. Serena, she needs to evolve early. The Bonsweet, kind of useless. Steenie, less useless, but still kind of useless. And just really going to want to be able to farm up to that evolution, and then you can start getting your yanks off. Gardevoir, same thing as Garchomp. You're going to want that EXP early, get that carry potential. Zeraora doesn't evolve, and he is just strong early. Slash does a lot of damage. What more need be said? Charizard, gonna need that EXP early. Charmander's weak, Charmeleon's weak. Charizard with Unite move is very strong. Talonflame, he's going to need to evolve ASAP because Fletchling, very weak. Fletchadier, not as weak. You can actually get off some really good ganks as Fletchadier, but we'll be covering that a little bit in the next video as well. Now, after that is Zoroark. Zoroark, you can actually play him in lane. Zoroark was not the weakest, but Zoroark is actually way stronger than Zorua, of course, and so we're going to needs to evolve ASAP to really be able to get off those high damage ganks. Dragonite going to be in the same category as Gardevoir, Charizard, Garchomp. where he just is an XP hungry machine. You want to put as much feed in there as possible. Azumarill, she's going to be strong early. She evolves at level 4, so you don't have to worry about the level 5 evolution. Even if somebody takes some of your farm in the jungle, you're still probably going to be able to guarantee the evolution, and she's going to be strong right off the bat. Greninja, absolutely going to need as much EXP as possible. I kind of put him and Cinderace in the same role in my mind, where it's auto attackers from a range that need so much XP in order to be really good. And actually, Decidueye is going to belong in that group as well. Same reasoning as the others. T-Tar, kind of with this group in here, with your Garchomp, T-Tar, and Gardevoir. Just absolutely going to need as much EXP as possible, and even their first ganks are just going to be weak. It's occupational hazard, but it's all for the long game, trying to win that Rayquaza fight. And then last you have Buzzwole. He's going to be strong early. He doesn't evolve. He gets Mega Punch. He gets Lunge pretty early, I want to say. I think it's Lunge that he gets. No, not Lunge. Leech Life really early. And you can just lock people down with Leech Life early and really get those ganks off. So these are kind of the 3 categories, and I explained them a little bit, but just to recap them, the strong early ones, you can get a gank off immediately, even if you don't get all of your farm. If like a teammate trolls you and takes a little bit of your farm in the jungle, you can still get a nice gank off with them. And it's going to be strong, kind of regardless of when you go in, as long as your teammates are alive and you're not fighting on the enemy's pad, chances are you're going to win this. The needs to evolve ASCP kind of follows the strong early, but you have to guarantee that evolution. If you don't guarantee that evolution, then it's just going to be a really, really bad time for you. You're not going to be able to get any ganks off. You're not going to be able to output any damage. Chances are you're just going to die, and if you do die, you give the buffs to the other team, and that's terrible. The worst thing you can possibly do as the center lane. And the weak early and needs XP, this is the highest skill-based center lane, that the highest skill floor, not meaning that you get the most mileage out of them if you do well, but it's the hardest to get mileage out of them in the first place. You have to really know what you're doing with these guys in order to get off really good ganks and really pull away with the lead for your team. A lot of times you'll when you go to gank 3v2, you're going to lose at least one of your teammates. It shouldn't be you, should be one of your laners. That sounds terrible, but it's true. But it's just kind of what's expected because they are so weak early, but you're not playing for the early game, you're playing for the late game. So being able to get the jungle rotations every single time, that's going to be huge for these guys, and you're going to want to farm. Alright, that's going to really do it for the role aspect. Next we're going to be taking a look at like items to level up and emblems, so I'll see you over there. Okay, so let's first take a look at emblems. Obviously, I don't have all of them, and I'm not going to be teaching you exactly which emblems to take specifically, more so how to build your emblems. Now, every single Pokemon can actually be put into 2 categories, attack and special attack. And if we go to our Pokemon page, it'll actually tell us right there if it's ranged or melee, and if it's attack or special attack. So this Gardevoir, you can see right above range, it says special attack. Same thing with the Venusaur. Charizard, it says attack, meaning that he uses the attack stat, not the special attack stat. And it says he's melee. That'll be important a little bit later for the items. But you can, every single Pokemon divided into attack or special attack. That's going to have a huge impact on our emblems. So going back to the emblems, you're going to be able to stack attack and special attack on the minus side, and then it'll help boost up the rest of your stats here. So like if you take a look at this Tauros, it gives plus attack minus special attack. So the minus special attack is going to be the most important part of that, because if you notice here, every single emblem I have is going to be getting rid of special attack and boosting some other stat. And that's going to be true for all of these here. And you can see on the side the current effect special attack is at minus 16.2. That's kind of a lot of special attack to be subtracting from, but because you're using an attack Pokemon, that doesn't matter. It's pretty much giving you free stats at the expense of a stat you don't use. And especially if you're just beginning making emblem builds, that is going to be the rule you're going to want to follow, is getting rid of special attack for your attackers. Now here I also have a special attack page and it's going to be just the opposite. You can see attack -6 there, and then everything else aside from crit rate is boosted. Special attackers don't usually rely too much on critical hits, so I felt okay getting rid of that as well, especially because it allowed me to get 7 of the black buff. Now, that is going to bring us into our second little emblem tips and tricks here. The colors really do matter on the side here. Green is going to boost my special attack by 4%. When all is said and done, especially on a carry like Gardevoir, that is going to be a lot of special attack added to your repertoire. Not even like considering the extra stats you get from the emblems, which actually for this build isn't a whole lot. It's only 1.8, but that is going to boost the attack quite a lot. And then the black buff here is going to reduce the cooldown by quite a lot. If you take a look, 4% rivals items like Energy Amplifier and Shell Bell. So it's like adding even more cooldown to those items. And really, that's going to be very important for especially special attack heavy Pokemon. Now on the attack side of things, the color you're really going to want to look out for is brown. It's going to increase your attack, so it's like the opposite of the green one. And then I have white here. White is probably not actually the best one. I just don't have the correct emblems for the correct color, and that's going to be red. Red is going to increase your melee attack, or no, your auto attack. It's going to increase your auto attack, kind of like Muscle Band does. It's going to make you auto attack just that much faster to help you get that much more kills. And then the other thing you can really keep a lookout for on the attack page is for crit. Now I don't have a whole lot of crit guys that also decrease special attack, but you can run full crit builds with Pokemon like Garchomp and Talonflame are two obvious ones that come to mind. Absol, another obvious one that comes to mind, and just do an absurd amount of damage with crit. But you also have to be careful because things like Azumarill, they don't really need that crit. So it's just all about what Pokemon you're using, and then how you're looking at doing the damage. And really the basic boils down to attacker and special attacker. And that's going to be the same for the items we bring, which actually brings us to the next page. Okay, and here we have the held items, and once again you're going to really be able to, for the most part, separate these between attackers and special attackers. Muscle Band, you're going to increase that attack stat, so it's actually going to be better on attackers, but because the basic attack speed also goes up, it can be viable on some attackers, or special attackers, if they have like a really good effect on their empowered auto attack. So it's a little bit of more ambiguous there, but for the most part, it's going to want to go on attackers. Scopelins, most of the guys who love to crit are going to be attackers. Wise Glasses, obviously special attack, that's all it does. Focus Band, that's really not for the jungle Pokemon, not for the center lane Pokemon. That's more of a lane item, but some Pokemon can use it. People like Scizor who enjoy being a little bit more tanky can get some use out of Focus Band. Energy Amplifier is going to be mostly for special attackers, although I've used it on like Charizard before. It really helps with the Unite move regain, so another one of a little bit of an ambiguity there. But the cooldown reduction just on straight movesets is going to really make it be useful for special attackers, just as a general rule. Buddy Barrier, absolutely OP on release and for the first couple seasons. Then it got nerfed pretty hard. I still think it's good though, especially if you're playing in like a 5-stack. Like this can make somebody be unkillable still, and that is just the facts of the case. Like you have your carry go in as a center lane, and then you start to get really chunked down and chain CC'd. Your teammates can actually save you, but because it's your teammates saving you with the Buddy Barrier, it's not usually something you take in lane. Now, the big exception I do is Garchomp. I love this item on Garchomp simply because you want to be able to get your entirety of your ult off as Garchomp. The last tick of damage that you do, the last slam down, that's going to do the most, and also CC them for a little bit. So it's really important to get that little piece off. When Buddy Barrier helps you wade into the battle and then really pop that up and be able to help you get into the fight. Now, Score Shield, that's more of a laning item than anything, especially for supports and defenders, but it's actually going to combo well with things like Attack Weight and Special Attack Glasses. Helps you get those stacks up. There are some jungles that really depend on stacks. That's not my playstyle, so I'm not going to be the best guy to tell you about that. I would recommend finding a different how-to tutorial on how to use Attack Weight. It's just something that I'm not good at, and I don't want to give you bad information. Razor Claw, that's going to be primarily for attackers because most of the melee guys are attackers, if not all of them. I know like Wigglytuff is special attack, but we're not talking about Wigglytuff right now. And this is, it boosts attack, and then it's made for melee people specifically. I love this item on Garchomp and Talonflame once again. Those are like my two go-tos for examples because one of them is really strong early and the other one is really strong late. But this item good on both of those guys, and it just helps you keep people in range of your auto attacks, and it helps you get that extra crit and get that extra attack, and it's really nice. Choice specs obviously going to be for special attackers with that flat damage, so nice. Weakness policy kind of like Focus Band, where it's not really a lot for junglers, but some of the more tanky guys really like it. This is another one I use on Scizor all the time, and it just makes a world of difference on him. Special attack weight going to be in the same category as attack weight, or special attack specs, not a special attack weight, whatever. Once again, that's not I'm not good at that play style, and it's really you're going to want to find somebody who is good at that play style's input rather than mine. Shell Bell, kind of with that cooldown, but this time it also increases special attack, so it's like really spelling it out for you. Hey, you want to use this thing on special attackers. Assault Vest is not really super viable at the moment. You can take it for a little bit more tanky, but I would recommend doing that in lane if at all, and actually I wouldn't recommend it at all. Floatstone. Floatstone is a little bit of a nuance to me. As you can see, I don't have like the rest of these guys leveled up a whole lot, and that's because I don't usually use them. But I'm actually really excited to try to use a Floatstone on something like Dodrio. I feel like that would be a really nice thing to do. But other than that, there's not a whole lot of Pokemon that really need that movement speed outside of combat. Like, your melee guys, they always have a tough time chasing people down, but this is only outside of combat. So after you chase somebody down and get the first hit in, you're still going to find the struggle. And if they can land a hit on you, that counts as in combat too. So it's not like you'd have to be dodging their abilities and like weave in and out trying to catch them, and it just doesn't seem like it'll work, with the exception of maybe Dodrio because it'll help get that sprint gauge up. EXP share not for jungle, not for central lane, do not take it. Rocky Helmet, this is not viable. This is just an item that needs to be buffed. Aeos Cookie, that's kind of like with the stacker, like the other stacking items, but I usually see it if anybody has it, it's usually on people in lane, like your defenders, not really for central lane people. And leftovers, I've never seen anybody take leftovers. Once again, kind of like Rocky Helmet, in need of a buff. But if you're ever in doubt about what items to take, here's a nice general rule of thumb. You can take a Pokemon that you like from the Pokemon screen, hit A on them, and then go down to held items, choose held items, and you can actually see example sets. There's an example set button for Y, and it'll recommend you stuff what the game recommends, and then what like real people actually use. So like this guy, he uses Buddy Barrier. This guy, he's going with the special attack weight, so he's going to want to be really focused on scoring. It's really difficult with Gardevoir because you're really weak early, but if you can get it done, then you're going to be very strong late. And then this one is like full cooldown essentially, where you want to get as many cooldowns off as possible. And as you can see, that's actually the set that I favor at the moment. I just need to level up Shell Bell a little bit. And you can do that for pretty much any Pokemon out there, like Charizard. Let's take a look at Charizard. Charizard, he likes to crit, so having Scope Lens on there, that's nice. But as you can see, like Scope Lens is a really big one. Like you could even add in Razor Claw here if you wanted to. I actually don't know why more people don't do that, but Like, you have a tanky Charizard build, you have movement speed, like, so Floatstone is viable in a lot of different people. I don't use it because I don't see getting a whole lot of use out of it. But then, like, cooldown, not just for special attackers, there are some regular attackers that also enjoy it. It's just going to be mostly for special attackers. I hope that clears up a little bit about items. This is just all pre-game. Things that you need to be thinking about before even going into the center lane. If you go into the center lane without a game plan in place, you're just preparing to fail. And we don't prepare to fail on this channel. We prepare to win. We're try hard sweats, but only sometimes. Alright, thank you for sticking around for the video. Don't miss the next installment here. It's going to be on the card, hopefully on the screen right now. And that'll be part 2. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all next time. Bye!